Hello and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Today, we're joined in the studio by Heather Beardsley. She's an American visual artist that works with various media using the aesthetics of science to play with semiotics and visual hierarchies. Heather explores the topic of nature, environment, and human societies, as well as their interaction and symbolism. And we're going to talk more about her projects here in Kyiv. Hello, Heather, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So you already have been in Ukraine, but the previous time you visited our country, you were a tourist. Now you're working with several projects. What are those projects?
So I'm an artist in residence with Izolatia residency program, and as part of that, I'll have an exhibition. I give actually an artist talk tonight at iZone. Have an exhibition there opening September 4th. And the project—
The exhibition of what?
The artwork that I'm working on while I'm here. It's a project that actually was inspired by last time when I came to Ukraine. I visited Chernobyl and Pripyat and was really inspired by the way in Pripyat town that these plants have grown up, this man-made disaster where now nature was fighting back, nature has come up again, and so just expanding it to larger ecological issues. I started last year during a residency in Budapest to embroider these photographs where plants were growing through the city, and it's continued. I travel a lot with my work, and so as I've gone different places, I've continued the series in Vienna and in Beijing. And so here in Izolatia, I'm now using images from Kyiv and doing some larger collage works on fabric using Soviet architecture, and then having this interaction between these man-made structures and the plants.
Okay, as far as I know, you usually explore the topics of nature, environment, human societies, and their interaction and symbolism. That's what you just described.
Yes.
Now, several years ago, or 2 years ago, you came to Pripyat in Chernobyl, and you were inspired by what was happening there when nature was fighting back the human-made disaster. What do you plan to explore now, this time when you're in Kyiv, except for exhibiting your works that have already been done? But what's new? What is this new? What are those new things that you're looking for to explore?
Well, I'm looking at including more elements from traditional Ukrainian handwork and embroidery. So looking at the Folk Art Museum, the Folk Architecture Museum, looking at the handcrafts there and how I can incorporate those motifs into future embroidery works. Also, I've been expanding the scale by doing fabric pieces, because with the photograph size is limited in terms of just technically sewing into paper. So I've been excited to be able to use the time and the space that I have here to work a little larger and make some larger works that I can share at the end of the residency.
Great. Have you collaborated with any Ukrainian artists so far?
Not so far. I only arrived on Saturday night.
Well, do you plan to?
I don't know if I'll collaborate directly, but I look forward to meeting and speaking with more Ukrainian contemporary artists. Since I was here as a tourist before, I didn't have a lot of access to that. So I've already met people through iZone and Izolatia, but hopefully that will continue to happen. And when I give my talk there tonight and at the opening, I hope to have some conversations with feedback from local artists and curators and just the local arts community here.
Okay, you work with media using aesthetics of science to play with semiotics and visual hierarchies. Could you explain what that means, first of all?
Sure. Well, semiotics is, the creation of meaning, and so I'm interested in how these layers of meaning can be in things that we interpret and see without realizing it. And so especially in terms of museum hierarchies and natural history museum hierarchies, science museums, or infographics, data collection, how this information gets shown to the public who aren't experts in those fields, and how they use aesthetics to strengthen those points. And, obviously that power can be misappropriated, either intentionally or not. We've had many times where, either people in power were intentionally misleading people, or, scientists just were wrong about things historically. And so I'm just interested in how I can borrow from visual elements from these sorts of things to take on some authority, but do it to call attention so that people are thinking about where their information's coming from, what it means.
Is the sphere of studies, work, or research, is it relatively new?
I don't know that it's necessarily new, but I think art and science is very much a buzzword right now. You see it a lot more. But when you study it, I mean, there's been artists working with science, you know, back to the mid-1800s, but it just is in a different way. And I think right now people are very interested in this kind of interdisciplinary approach and working together more. And also science just has much more funding generally than art. So I think it's nice when artists can, you know, collaborate with scientists and also be able to get more funding through those avenues sometimes.
From your artistic point of view, what do you think of Kyiv and its contemporary art scene?
Like I said, I'm still very new to it, but I'm excited to see more. I think iZone and Izolacja are both really great cultural institutions to have here, and I've liked the programming I've seen through them so far. Okay. And I've only visited a couple other contemporary art galleries, but there's still lots of time. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, after Kyiv, what are your plans for the future? Is there any major project you're planning to work on?
I will have an exhibition in Tallinn in October with a colleague who's Estonian, and it'll be similar work. We've both been working on series of these dystopic sort of landscapes. So there's that project. Then I'll be in Las Vegas for 6 weeks from November to December doing a project there with a different art residency, Rogers Art Loft. So I'm excited about that.
Okay, well, we wish you all the best in Ukraine.
Thank you.
Here in Kyiv, please come back, and good luck with all the future projects.
Thank you very much.
That was Heather Beardsley. She's an American artist. Thank you so much for watching UATV. Stay tuned for the rest.